Hey, David Wygant, 10 minutes of daily reality check. Will be a little longer today because it is Christmas Eve. I'm not going to, if I do a Christmas show, it might just be wishing you a Merry Christmas, being politically incorrect, man. I got some heat. Hey, Lex, I'm going to introduce you in a minute, but man, I got some heat the other day from all the happy holiday people.
Oh,
You know,
you did?
yeah, they gave me this, well, no better word, but shit, right? And I did a podcast and I said, there's nothing wrong with saying Merry Christmas to people. There's nothing wrong with saying Happy New Year, but because we've gotten so lazy as a society, we've now combined it all. Hanukkah, Christmas, and New Year's. We just say Happy Holidays from Thanksgiving on and we just call it a day. But I don't know, there's magic about Christmas. My my daughter opens her presents. There's magic in the air. You live in Chicago, there's Santas on the street. So it's interesting how people really take offense to these little stupid things. And I think it's just society being lazy. I don't know if you have a strong opinion on that. Whether you do or not, you can share.
Yeah, without, again, I don't want to offend anyone's sensibilities either, but I'm a big Merry Christmas guy, and I know what Happy Holidays means when Thanksgiving rolls around. It kind of an all-inclusive of Thanksgiving, Christmas time, and New Year's, right? But during the Christmas time, I'm a Merry Christmas guy, and no one ever offends me if someone says Happy Hanukkah to me. I'm like, I'm a Merry Christmas guy, and I move on. I never take offense to any of that. So
And
it's just yeah.
there's magic to it.
Absolutely. I
Really,
agree.
you don't see little kids, and that's the way I look at it. Adults need to really incorporate little kids again, because you won't see my 8-year-old daughter walk around and go, Happy Holidays. It's like, man, it's like Christmas. It's magic. It's Santa Claus. There's so many things. I think adults need to hear magic again. So talking about magic, yeah, the stock market hasn't been magic lately. It's actually, and everybody's freaking out, and people are freaking out at interest rates, which we still have the lowest interest rates in history. I mean, they're still dirt cheap to really borrow money. GM has a 0% financing for 72 months on their cars. I mean, it's not like the end of the world is coming, but I think it's a good opportunity for people to really, during this correction time in the stock market, to take control of their money. We're going to share with people at the end how they can take control of their money without paying big fees. Lex, you've been a stock market veteran for what, 30 years now?
Yeah, at least I hate to admit. I don't know if I hate to admit it. It just shows you how old I am. So, yeah, I started in 87, the crash of 87, just before that.
Were you just out of college at that time?
Yeah, yeah. I was going to go to law school, and I graduated from college, and I was getting ready to do the law school thing. And my dad was in the industry, so he said, while you're young and you have no expenses and you're living at home, why don't you try this trading thing? It might be good for you. So I said, okay, sounds good, and I did, and I got, I met up with some who would be also eventually be my partners in trading, and yeah, it just went on and was great. So that's how it started. I never went back to law school, by the way. I married a woman who is a lawyer, who keeps me out of trouble for the most part.
Oh, that's so funny. You got your taste of law. So it's so funny. So we're about the same age. I think I got you by a couple of years. I graduated in '84. So
Mhm.
it's interesting. There's a saying that one of my mentors tells me. It's time in the chair. It's not, and people always say mastering the stock market, is so difficult and it's so this and it's so that. It's not difficult. It's only difficult because you're not willing to put time in the chair. Last week there was the Fed announcement. I never traded a Fed thing in my entire life. Next time the Fed does that, I'll understand exactly, once everything starts puking, what direction I need to head in. And I know the stocks that I need to be looking at. And I think that's what it is with everything in life. It's experience. It's like, are you willing to take the time to have the experience?
Mhm.
And people will say, well, people when they start trading, they lose money. It's not losing money. You got to reframe it. It's investing in your future. You can't make money until you lose money. You have to invest in everything you do, whether it's a corner store, a stock market, or a software program that you're doing right now. So after being a trader, what took you on the entrepreneurial? I mean, you basically were an entrepreneur as a trader anyway, but
Mhm.
what inspired you to start TradeHawk? What was the thing that really inspired you? What was the aha moment that you said, well, wait a second now.
Yeah, that's
You know,
that's a good question. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I have an aha moment, but I have a moment. So as I mentioned before in one of the other podcasts, I've been in the trading industry since I got out of college, right? And it was mostly on the proprietary trading side, market making. We had a very, very great business across the world actually, and ended up selling it, and had to think of something else to do. So we did something else. Didn't work great, I'd say, but everything was always wrapped in technology. And we got to a point, in the 2015 year, where we said, we've put so much energy into our software. Why don't we create a retail version of this? Because we just felt that the legacy versions that were out there, which are truly legacy, they were around in the early 2000s. So they're 12, 13, 14 years old. We wanted to put something in the marketplace that could compete with them, from a professional's brain, let's say, and mindset, but easy enough to use and understand, and give them really higher end tools for trading at an unbelievable price. And you can't get over the price, because, as you said, David, you can make trades and scratch them for the right reason, right? And not have to worry about just generating a massive debit from commissions. And it is truly liberating. I sit here and trade on it all day long, and I make trades that I'm making a few pennies occasionally, just because I don't like them. And it doesn't cost me anything. I make a few pennies, right?
well, it's so funny when we were talking just now, my ding went off because I hit Microsoft again, and then I looked at it very, very quickly and realized it wasn't going to move. And I literally went in and out, and I went in at 99.67 and out at 99.67, a complete scratch minus the 20 cents I think I got charged, right?
Yeah, for your exchange fees or something.
Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah.
an exchange fee. But it's really interesting because that's where, and I think that's the beauty. It's we live in a world right now where trading the stock market is actually not. They always say it was and this. You've been doing this for 30 years, so you remember. It's like the retail trader. There was like, ooh, you're either a prop trader, or you're the or you work for the big firm, or you're a retail trader. And the retail traders, the odds were so stacked against retail traders,
right?
Because there weren't algorithms and bots and commission fees were $14.95 going in and going out. And if you layer trade, you can have $100 in commissions and you only ended up making $75, and it's like, and the bills were terrible. So now, and with chat rooms and with other things, it's like the retail trader isn't really dead in the water anymore. It's like I don't know if I'm right or wrong about this, but I've seen like the tide seems to be changing. The retail trader has actually a really good shot now at making money.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great point. So, and I failed to mention that in the answer to your question, but that's another reason why I switched to the retail world. I felt that the tide had switched from the proprietary trader to the retail version. They started, first of all, the government got involved on the regulatory side and compliance side, and that was just onerous, over the top crazy for the professionals. So that was strike number one. Strike number two is that the tools that we were able to put into the retail world, and the tightness of markets, right, and the ability to learn, like you said, from a room or an educator, all of a sudden it was like, why wouldn't you be in the retail world? So that's where we started to see the light, is that, God, the retail world actually has an advantage, not a disadvantage anymore. This education group is phenomenal. These rooms that, as David, as you well know, they're terrific. The tools that we have and the pricing structure that especially that TradeHawk has it's just amazing how you can exist. I trade for maybe 2 hours in the morning, especially with the group that we're involved in. That's all they really do. And, I make some money, and I'm busy with the rest of the business. So it's phenomenal. The freedom's terrific.
Well, yeah, and that's the whole thing. I mean, there's a vision. So funny. It's like my dings keep going off because Microsoft keeps pulling me back in. Hold on. I want to answer that question. Let me get out of Microsoft. And that's the beauty of that right now. I just, I went in and out, and I think it was what did I do? $5, okay? Not a big deal, right? But this is what you can do all day long. It's like you literally can play these little moves and get good. at understanding these little tiny moves. And some people go, well, $5 doesn't mean anything. I said, but in technicality, it actually does. I just bought myself a Starbucks, right?
Yeah.
But the fact is that I'm playing it. And the thing is, it's like with the room that you and I are in and the way that they call out, they literally, everything is set from the room to TradeHawk. All you have to do is see the green light that's flashing, which I think is just so amazing. You put it in, you put your triggers in, and really, if you screw up, it's only your own reason you're screwing up because, and I do believe this as well too. A lot of people don't want to study technical analysis, right? But the beauty is if you actually study it, you understand and you see the support. I mean, that 8 EMA or 8 moving average is such a good friend of yours because if that stock has captured it, the triggers work so much better because you actually understand it. You actually can then play the trade and play it all out. But it's amazing that you wanted to help. I mean, if you hear the theme, and I'm listening to you right now, the theme is you wanted to help the retail trader.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. I just felt that in our business, we were very keen on automation. Okay. And automation is a scary word. People sometimes think automation, oh my God, it's a robot. It's crazy. I can't figure that out. I have to learn how to write code. That's not what automation meant to us. What automation means to us is you have the ability within a platform to set an emotionless profit and an emotionless stop. Okay. And how you get to those numbers, that takes a little finagling. It might be 25 cents either side. It might be 50. I'm not sure. I don't have the answer for that specifically right now. But when you decide on that number, what's nice about automation is that it's set into the machine and all you have to do is let the machine do the work. The emotion part has already been put beyond you, right? And you can't really try to intervene on that part of it. Once you've decided what the mechanism is that makes you want to get out of something, let the machine do the work and let it just sit back and let it happen. You're most likely going to, if you're going to start tinkering with it, unless you're just totally changing the methodology, you're most likely going to mess it up. I've done it for 30 years. I always mess it up when I start thinking I'm more clever than my exit. So I just love the fact that giving that retail guy that advantage or gal that advantage to say, hey, I can set this and just sit back and let the machine do the work. I love that kind of trading.
Okay. So question for you, okay, and this is really interesting. And I believe, and I think you and I have talked about this off mic as well. Trading is the ultimate way to helping you figure out all the mental and fears that you have inside of you. I mean, people always say, well, you're alone against the computer. No, you're not. You're basically sitting there against your demons. Because you can spend a couple of months learning technical analysis. It's really not hard. You want to play the 3-8 crossover. You want to, you want to have a rule where, you only take your trades above the 20 or below the 20 for short, above for long, or you want to play the 200 moving average, or you want to play the 50 moving, moving average. There's so many different little ways that you can make money in the stock market by keeping it simple. What I believe, and this is something coming from a 20-year coaching thing, I have spent the year learning the stock market. Now I'm down, but I don't consider it down. I consider it money invested. And since I started using TradeHawk, I'm even, because I've taken the fees out and now I'm actually learning with smaller shares, 25 shares. So I'm actually, you can't really make money off of 25 shares. It takes a lot of work. But if you say you're breaking even on 25 shares, you know that you're not letting your shares run, you can even see it. But I have really learned this year, and this has been a big thing, and it's a good revelation for, Christmas Eve. My trust issues came up. I mean, this was like, even if I'll get the calls, and even if it's all so easy for me, I don't trust. And I had to go back and work on why I didn't trust. And I had to go back to childhood, and I had to go back to a very rough moment when I was 5 years old that my mother decided to drive into a parked car with me in the back seat and realize, well, that's my mother. And if I can't trust my mother, I can't trust anybody. So you have to work through your stuff because you get in your own way in trading. And I think that's what's beautiful about what you just said is that if the machine does it and you want to do a 25-cent stop and you want to have a trailing stop after that of 10 cents and you can set it all up. And anybody that's interested in this, Lex got some videos. He'll get on the phone with you. He'll talk to you about it. It takes you out of it, but you still need to work through the demons. And that's something
Yep.
I want to ask you, how did you work through the demons?
That's a good question. You know, the demon. Here's where the demons come. I had I don't know if it's the good fortune or the bad fortune. I haven't decided yet. Maybe the bad fortune of being a floor trader.
Oh,
So
wow.
the good news about the good fortune is that we as floor traders, we got to buy on the bid and sell on the offer. So our edge was built into that bid ask spread, right? So we didn't have many demons because we made the markets. So people who had to sell things came to us, and people who had to buy things came to us, and we made the difference. When you move off floor and you become a retail trader, you don't have the luxury of necessarily buying on the bid and selling on the offer anymore. You have to have another set of rules that causes you or puts you in a good light to make money. Okay, and it typically centers on either a technical analysis of some kind, right? A strong opinion about some research you've done about the direction of a particular stock, or the same about the marketplace in general, right? So there are all kinds of reasons built into those three things. And if you're a student, like you say, David, where you really put your energy into learning a particular task, and I always say, keep it simple. Don't go crazy with all these crazy things. Keep it simple. Keep it something you understand and can replicate and just scale to the nth degree, right? And even if you're doing 10, 20 shares, and if it keeps repeating itself and you can keep doing this, you're going to make a lot of money. But you have to create the methodology along the way that says, this is my discipline and this is it. This is how I'm going to live the ins and outs of it. And if I lose, I lose. And if I win, I win. If I'm losing all the time, something's wrong with my method, right?
Right.
So I got to go back to the drawing board a little bit. And like I said today, I was on with a young woman today, and I lost in front of her. I said, "Look I don't know if I'm going to win or lose on these things, but here's my methodology." And she's like, "Oh, geez, Lex, I'm sorry. You lost some money." I said, "Hey, listen, that's how it goes. I mean, I'm not changing my methods. I've done so well with this." So I said, "You watch. If you were on long, I had to hang up with her, but lo and behold, a few good trades. Next thing you know, I'm up all that money I had lost and then some." So I'm like, that's just how the game works. I'm just so used to seeing that little fluctuation. It doesn't scare me. So I'm just patterned, I suppose, and I've worked hard at it.
That's what it is. It's patterns. It's time in the chair.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know, there are days when you just should sit your butt down in the chair and watch and play two shares. And that's
Yep.
the beauty about TradeHawk. It's like two shares. So, so what? It runs you 10 cents exchange, right? And so what? You don't make any money. You could do that 20 times a day. If it cost you $1 a day or $2 a day, you didn't really make much money. You didn't lose much money, but you learned.
Right.
You learned to trust and you learned to do things. And by the way, Microsoft just exploded past the trigger.
Oh.
This is the one time I took the trigger out when I was talking to you. 57 and 91, but this is where technical analysis comes in too, is that I was watching it and it knocked on the 50 on the 2 minute, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And of course, the 7th time it blew through. So that's what you have to learn TA. And that's the beauty, is that with TradeHawk, you can also get a really good course, and there's a lot of information on YouTube. I mean, you can find a system that works for you and then start playing with it with TradeHawk. In the beginning, you only have to do the first couple hours of the day, or you can choose the afternoon. Right. It doesn't matter. But what you can do is you can incorporate what you've learned and then incorporate the fact that the system is there geared for you at a very minimal investment per month for unlimited trading. It's geared for you to learn and succeed, because once you develop the good habits, then you start making the money. And I think, Lex, and you know this too, people are like, especially somebody like me who's made a lot of money in my life, I wanted to go and make go back and make, I make 500 grand my first year, right? Well, I didn't. I didn't even come close, right? I think I lost about 7,
Right.
which is really not bad, because most of it was on this one Black Friday I had, and I just went nuts on Netflix and some other things and bigger shares, and I lost like 6,500. So the rest of the year pretty much was scratch, right? So, but the beauty here is that you can learn, and by learning, you actually will make money, because once again, as we said, 1 share is equal to 1,000 shares. It doesn't matter if you made a penny on or at 5 cents on one share, right? Then times that by the, number of thousand, you just made $5,000 on it.
Yeah, right.
So
Yeah.
it doesn't make much of a difference. And there is frustrations, like right now looking at Microsoft about to hit 100, realizing that was, and I think that's part of learning time in the chair. And that's the great thing about TradeHawk, is that you can do the trade 6-7 times,
Right.
and have minimal losses or break even. And then the 8th time, it's going to work, because it's going to work. It's showing that it's going to work. It's just not ready to pop yet. And that's the stock market. And that's the beauty of what your system is. Because right now, if I put that trigger in the last time, I would have been up 60 cents at this point. And it would have, literally made up for I think the 4 or 5 cents I lost trying it 3 or 4 times.
Right.
So,
Right. No, that's exactly right. So, and that's what I like. And I have another saying is, you can't, and I think we've talked about this, you can't eat like a bird and do the other thing like an elephant, right? You can't lose like an elephant and eat like you got to keep them consistent, right? So I don't let my losers run and stop out my winners. I'm completely the opposite. So very important strategy to develop. Keep things consistent.
sometimes it's hard though. Sometimes you got a loser, and you're giving it 30 cents and it slips to 40. So, I know I'm tight stops like you. I'm 25 cents. I'm like, if it didn't hit in 25 cents, I'm out.
Yeah. Right. It depends on your method, of course, right? The room we're in, David, they're pretty quick hitters. So it's, you're going to get your 25 cents and you're going to probably take it and move on and just do it again. It can re-trigger. So you just keep doing it.
Oh yeah, and it's like in their trades are like, if it trigger, usually they trigger, and if it goes down 25 cents, it's good to get out, because get in again when it re-triggers. Instead of letting it go down $1, sometimes they'll let it go down $1 and then they'll watch it go up $3, right? To me, I'd rather take a hit at 25 cents and then hit it the second time,
right?
Because it's like the old saying is protect your capital, because just in case if that's and the great thing about the room we're in is like the one time they made a last 2 months, right? I think it was on a Boeing trade,
right?
And I let it ride with them. But really the rest of the time, no, man, they're pretty.
I'm with you.
Yeah, they're pretty amazing. So it's not a difficult process. It's figure out what your loss is and realize, because you have unlimited trading deal, which you'll tell them about in a minute, you'll be able to truly, take that short stop, take that 25 cents, or look at, as what we learned, in TA, it's like, you enter on that bar, have the stop below the bar. I mean,
yeah.
It's like, if that's the bar you bought at, obviously you like that bar. So
absolutely. Yep.
There's a lot of ways to do it. Microsoft is now up almost 70 cents. That's another thing that is frustrating, even after 30 years, right? It's like, are you kidding me?
I know.
It's always like if you're down a little bit for the day.
Right. I never look back.
Right. The trade that you didn't take 7 times.
I know.
That would have made you even or put you in green for the day. And then you take it the 8th time because you have emotions and you're like, then you just doubled your losses. It's pretty funny. So Lex, where can they contact you? Because I really want people to realize that you have blue chip stocks that are cheaper than they've been in a long, long time.
I know, it's nuts. I agree.
Yeah. You got Apple down from 240 to 153 now. You got Microsoft below 100. You've got, Twitter down under 30. You've got, Amazon is 1,400 or whatever it is today. I mean, you've got things that are being marked down. It's discounted. Nobody knows where the bottom is going to be. People say it's going to be 20 or 22 or 18. But the thing is, it's like there's going to be a bottom, and you're going to say to yourself, oh, man.
Right.
Apple was 131, and I had it. These are good companies. Apple's got a ton of cash, so it doesn't matter if the stock is where it is at. That stock is going to fly back up again one day, and it's going to fly back past where it was and probably go into the 400s one day, because that's what happens in every market.
Yeah, no doubt. I agree, and you're right. This is a great time to start learning. And learning is cheap on TradeHawk, right? There's paper trading. Right. So you can mess around with that for a while. That's just getting used to the system. And B, when you decide to start playing, you don't need a ton of money. You don't have to start with a ton of money. You start with 1 lots and 2 lots to get used to it and get your skills down. And David, I don't know, you know a lot of educators, so you could probably recommend them to people, but get yourself with a great educator or content provider to have them teach you some things. You know, you might have to spend a little money to learn some things, but with them, it's probably well worth it. Education's great, right?
Oh, I'll do a plug for somebody. I mean, I have a educational. I'm in two rooms. I'm in one
Mm-hmm.
room. I learn. I fund traders. It's Oliver Velez, who's been around for 30 years. You know, he's an amazing teacher. He's got a chat room with a guy by the name of Dr. Dan, who is an
Mm-hmm.
incredible educator. So I'll listen to the room we're in to get the calls out, and then I'll watch Dan on one screen literally show me exactly how to do, you know, which is something that, you know, the down and through.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like the whole number plays. I mean, the man is a master at teaching it and answering questions. And
That's great.
you can Google Oliver Velez on YouTube, and you can watch some of his videos and watch the way he designs it. But they've got courses and other things. They're really, really good when it comes down to teaching. And then if you want to know the room that Lex and I is in, just send me an email and go to, you know, mytradehawk.com
Mm-hmm.
and sign up and paper trade and contact Lex, and he'll give you a really good Christmas unlimited trading deal that is monthly. And I could tell you that, you know, your commissions when you're playing and you're using TD Ameritrade and all those other places, and you're trying to learn, you can be $3, $4, $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10,000 in commissions in 1 year as you're trying to learn. And you may not have made a dime, and that's not worth it. And he'll save you a ton of money.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, David. Yeah. That is the website, www.mytradehawk.com. There's all kinds of information. There's videos. You can set up a tour. And what a tour means is you click on that button, you fill out some information. We will send you back a form so that we can do an online private demo of the product. You can ask questions during the tour. Typically take about 45 minutes, depending on your questions. We record it and we send the recording to you. It's your own private tutorial. So, and you can always have access to that if you want to do one of those. So,
and it's awesome. Hey, Lex, stay on afterwards. And
okay, we'll do.
For all of you on this Christmas Eve, Lex and I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. We're not going to sing. We're past that age. You know, and I want all of you to, you know, kind of embrace the family life and embrace the fun of tonight, and embrace Christmas, and embrace chocolate chip cookies and milk for Santa, and bring back some of it. If you're an adult and you have no kids, find something that's magical tonight in your heart. You know, maybe watch an old movie, maybe watch Harry Met Sally, you know, maybe watch It's a Wonderful Life, maybe watch, you know, A Christmas Story, maybe go and watch the claymation Rudolph. But realize that it's not Happy Holidays. Get the magic of Christmas back, and you'll get the magic in your life back. That's what's missing in so many of you. Christmas is magic. Santa is magic. And you need to believe in magic, because there's so much magic left in this life, because life is one of the best gifts you can possibly have. And it's one of the greatest adventures ever. And if you have magic around it, great things happen, and you get great people in your life. I will see you all after Christmas.